Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video here. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about Rick Grimes' message and the location of that green bottle. We've talked about this in the past, and obviously there's going to be theories on that like green bottle because the last time we saw Rick, like ignoring the trailers, the last time we saw Rick was when he escaped from the Civic Republic, and he had this green bottle. He wrote this letter to, I guess, anyone really. It was probably intended for Michonne, but I think it was really intended for anybody back home. Like anybody in Alexandria, you come across this, I just want you guys to know I'm still alive. Like I'm out here, I'm at this place kind of thing, right? And so I think that it makes a lot of sense that Michonne is likely going to find this bottle because there are certain things about the Civic Republic and how Michonne relates that place to Rick. Well, I think the bottle will confirm, like Rick's message will confirm that he's there when Michonne finds out information that could be completely independent from anything with Rick, right? Like she might just hear the CRM, she finds this bottle and Rick says he's there. She's going to be like, okay, so I know where to go now kind of thing, right? So I think that's why this green bottle is going to play a pretty big role in episode 1 or 2, probably at the end of episode 1. She could find it, or maybe she finds it at the end of episode 2. But anyways, I want to talk about this. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. And if you haven't subscribed to my personal channel yet, I mean, if you're interested in doing so, that would be really awesome. I do want to say thank you so much to those who actually reached out and like said a lot of nice things. I mean, there's a lot of really amazing comments on there, and I honestly wasn't expecting that. And yeah, we're getting very, very close to 5,000 subs now. And it's just honestly amazing. Like it really is just like honestly amazing. And I just, channel is going to be, really served as like getting to know me more and then just sort of, following my journey over the next however long and maybe forever kind of thing. I don't even know, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I'm working on the second video now. So if you're interested in subscribing, I will leave a link down below in the description of this video. But let's actually talk about this whole Rick and Michonne thing. So first of all, I have kind of decided to, because I mean, the show's premiering in 3 months now, right? And I have a lot of videos here planned. I honestly kind of just sat here for an hour today and was like, you know what, let's come up with some video ideas here because, I want to kind of do this properly. And I came up with like 15 ideas here. How much are here? Like there could be more than 15 here actually now that I'm looking at it here. And there's actually some stuff that I really want to focus on. And I'm not going to give away my video ideas, obviously, but I will say a lot of my focus is on Rick and its specific themes about Rick and obviously Michonne as well. And it's going to focus a lot on their journey and key moments in the past of just basically of their lives sort of in general and really just about those characters and leading all the way up into the premiere of this show. So I'm very, very excited. I really can't wait to talk about like certain video ideas here because I really think these certain video ideas are going to be just a lot of fun to explore and just sort of revisit because I think actually one of them, I really wonder if that character could actually appear in The Ones Who Live. But anyway, expect a lot of that content coming soon. But let's talk about this here. So obviously Rick Grimes' message, we saw that in the very last episode, and it just sort of like appeared randomly in this scene where, yeah, he just had this green bottle and was like, okay, well, I shouldn't say it appeared randomly, but basically he has this bottle and it's a message for anyone back home in Alexandria, basically to know that he's alive. And I'm guessing that there are some details regarding the CRM. I think it would be crazy if there were just like no details there regarding where he is and stuff. So there's probably some information there just on that. And yeah, obviously before he was caught, he threw the bottle and all that. And at that point, that was basically it. And who knows where that bottle is at this point, right? Like I doubt it's just, never going to be seen again. Like I think a scene like that was introduced specifically because they are going to be getting into that storyline. Like I don't think Gimple is, showing us that and then just never getting into that. Or I don't think there's going to be a scene where all of a sudden we do see like, Rick is like sitting somewhere and then the CRM, they're like, oh, we found that green bottle you threw out there kind of thing. Like, I don't think it's going to be something like that. I think Michonne's actually going to find that bottle. And at this point now, I do think it is going to be Michonne. It's not going to be Daryl or Carol. It's not going to be Maggie or Negan. It doesn't seem like it's going to be any of them. I mean, I guess there's a chance for it to be Morgan at this point. Like, if they're setting up something for season 2, and that's something that we could talk about in the future. Like if the green bottle doesn't come up at all in the first season and it's just literally like nothing, and then, they are doing a season 2, we could be like, well, if Morgan appears in season 2, then maybe he's there because he finds that green bottle, right? That would be really cool. Honestly, that would be so cool. But I don't think it's going to play out like that. I think Michonne's going to be the one that does find this bottle. And where I think she will find it is in this new location that we saw in the trailer. And it's this place that is, I kept thinking it was called Safe Haven. I don't know why I read that. And even when I was like looking at it, I was like, well, it doesn't look like it says Safe Haven because it looks like there's an R there. So I was kind of confused, but I was like, oh, maybe it's just the way the blanket or the sheets just kind of folded or whatever. But no, I believe I've seen some people commenting, and I think it says Safe Harbor. So I'm assuming that this place, and I don't know, like, this looks very old, so this could be old. Like, I don't know if this place is safe anymore. This could have been something that was, you know, just connected to a time when this place was safe. But I do think it makes sense. Like, obviously this boat is kind of up like on the shore now, but is also still kind of in water, right? And so I think that it makes sense that if Michonne is looking for clues anywhere, that green bottle is going to end up somewhere here. Like, it's going to be maybe just in the water. Maybe someone found that and then they died and it ended up somewhere in here, because there's a lot of weird details on like specific things. Like, Michonne found Rick's boots, but it wasn't like in a place where it just makes sense, you know, as to like where she found them. Like, you would assume that if Rick took off his boots, it would have been just you know, leaving them on the ground kind of thing. But it was like his boots were put in a chest in this room kind of thing. Like, so someone, I think, put them in there, and they were like, what, were they hiding them? Like, there's a lot of weird details like that I'm just like, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, unless Rick put them there because maybe that was another clue Rick was trying to leave as to like, you know, I'm still around kind of thing, which if he did that and we get a backstory to that, man, that is genius. But I think it makes so much sense that Michonne is going to find that green bottle in this ship somewhere. It could be on the outside, somewhere inside here. She could be inside looking for a bunch of clues, and she finds nothing. Like, there's absolutely nothing. She's just like, I don't understand. Like, or actually, she probably wouldn't say that, because I'm sure she's been looking around for years. She's probably going to be like, all right, another place that, you know, turned up nothing. And then as she's walking out, she'll probably notice that bottle. And the thing about that bottle that I will say is like it makes sense that people would notice it because it's green, and it's like a really bright green. And so out of everything, you're just going to notice a bottle like that. And you're probably going to wonder, like, I wonder, you know, could that be a message? Could there be something there? Because you got to remember, in this world, you're not thinking like how we would normally think, where if we saw a bottle like that, I mean, most people would probably be like, oh, I wonder if there's like a message in the bottle kind of thing, and they would go check it out, right? But especially in the apocalypse, you're going to do things like that just because of, like, obviously you're fighting to survive and you're trying to do all this and that, right? So certain things like that you are especially going to do. And I could see Michonne coming across that bottle, and I just think that that is easily where she's going to learn about where Rick is specifically. And I do have a video idea where I do want to talk about Nat, because Nat, I actually do think, is a very interesting character. It's because the CRM, like, whenever somebody sees them, they get rid of them, right? There's a lot of little things like that they do. And I think if Nat, you know, he knows of them, he has seen things and whatnot, it makes sense that he's just going to stay quiet about it, because if he mentions anything, then he could probably die, right? The CRM would get rid of him. And so I think that it just, in terms of certain details, I think that if Michonne meets Nat anyways, and I'm pretty sure he might not want to say anything about it because he just doesn't want to get in trouble at all, but I think if Michonne finds that bottle, you know, at that safe harbor place, and then she kind of comes back, I guess, to the home base of that group that she's staying with, then maybe she brings it up and she's like, what is the CRM? Like, what is this kind of thing? And then maybe he's like, oh, okay, because so he knows, and he sort of takes her aside, or they're talking in a room, and he's like, I know this stuff, but you can't say anything, this and that, because they're like this and whatever. And so maybe that's how Michonne finds out, and she's like, okay, so where are they? And then I guess she would be pointed in the direction of like Philadelphia, right? Depending on where she's at right now. I'm assuming she's pretty close anyways, but we'll talk about that in a separate video. I do want to talk about that character, and I want to talk more about, you know, that character's role in the season and stuff like that, and get into a bunch of that. But I think the green bottle, though, like, I think that it's going to be, honestly, a big part to, I think, how she does find out stuff about Rick. And I think it just makes sense because you set that up, and ignoring it would feel very off at this point, right? So when could we see this? I think that, you know, probably episode 1 at the very end, or in episode 2. I think it makes sense that around there we're going to see something, because in episode 1, like, you're going to end it in a way where it's sort of a cliffhanger for the next episode, to make the next episode like more exciting, right? Like, oh, I can't wait to see what's next kind of thing. And I think that for Michonne's storyline, she's going to find the bottle. She's going to find something like that. And it's like, oh, she found something, like, she's getting closer. For Rick's story, it could end in a way where things are kind of a little bit more scary. He's kind of just living this miserable life. And then I still think it's going to end with like a Major General Beale appearance, and then we're going to learn something there. And maybe that's connected to Rick because we get our first scene of him and Rick, or maybe we see something with him talking to Jadis about Rick kind of thing. That's kind of how I see the first episode ending, which I will say, it's kind of crazy that we're talking about this right now. Like, this is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for Fear the Walking Dead to end so that we can really talk about this show, because this is the next show coming out. It's in 3 months only. So the next 3 months are going to be really just talking about this show and just sort of building up a lot of the hype here, because it's a lot of fun to just talk about all the specifics here with this show, you know, episode to episode, breaking down all the teasers and stuff like that. And I just, yeah, it's fun. Honestly, it is really fun. I will say the one thing with the green bottle that a lot of people, you know, I think have some issues with is that, you know, just the believability about it, you know, just randomly finding this green bottle. I do think, you know, in terms of that storyline, you do kind of just have to ignore it. Like, I think it makes more sense for Morgan to find it like later on, right? Because, and the reason why I say that is because at that point, if Morgan found it in season 2, let's say, like say the Ones Who Live gets to season 2 and Morgan was going to appear in that show. If he finds the bottle, it's really just luck that he kind of found it. And for us fans, we're not even thinking about that bottle anymore because Rick and Michonne are together. And so it's just one of those things where it's like that was just in the past and kind of done, because now, you know, like Michonne found Rick and all of that. And so that's kind of whatever at this point. So it's a little bit more believable that like when Morgan finds it, that, and I think the reason why it's more believable is because the plot isn't so dependent on this green bottle, right? Like if the plot was so dependent on the green bottle, then it just, that's where you're like, okay, so it becomes this whole thing where it's like, okay, so you were never going to find him unless you randomly just like happen to found that bottle, right? And I do get that part about it. That might be something that we have to ignore. Who knows? Maybe Michonne doesn't even find the bottle and that whole thing is nothing. But I think that's why if Morgan were to find it and say they were to do a season 2 and it's something like that, you know, it's more believable because it makes more sense, because it's literally not dependent on the plot at all, because Rick was already found by Michonne and this is just something extra that Morgan just happened to find, right? So I'm just very excited. I really am just so excited for this show. So post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys in the next one.